This Village of Woe, level 70. Euless appears to have been awaiting your arrival. Excuse me, but you're the lady Alphanol was traveling with, aren't you? I'm sorry, I didn't quite catch your name. Ah, how lovely to meet you. My name is Euless, and I'm the acting village mayor. I was hoping someone of your talents would pass through right before long. Thing is, I need to visit someone up at Stonegazer, but I'm afraid to walk the path alone. Do you think you could provide an escort? I think so. I just couldn't bring myself to ask one of the villagers. See, there was an incident a while back where a veteran band of hunters was badly mauled. Simply mentioning that it's unsafe to wander outside the village these days would be enough to bring back memories of that grisly scene, which is why it's been so difficult to even bring up the subject. Such does not change the fact that the roads are indeed dangerous. Pray meet me on the path to the north and be prepared to fend off the wildlife. Chocobo. Experience. What did I tell you? I was barely 10 steps out of the village. Come, let us hurry along before more predators have a chance to gather. Thank you for the escort. This is the gentleman I wish to speak with, so we needn't go any further. Hi, Luke. You wandering around by yourself out here? You know what kind of creatures lurk beyond the borders of the village. Ah, well, if it isn't Cliftel's little girl, something I can do for you, lass? Yes, sir. I came for an answer to my proposal from the other day. Have you given any thought to taking over as village mayor? Doing the best I can in the interim, but I have neither the age nor the wisdom to continue in the role, and the rest of the villagers agree with me. I'm fairly sure I told you nay once already. Seeing as you found a guard just so you could come and talk to me, then mayhap I will consider the idea in exchange for a few small tasks. You will? Please, just tell me what I need to do. My friend Cliftal, your dear father, was looking for a sickle to cut some rope. Would you mind skipping back to the village and borrowing one for me? Why would you? I mean, a sickle, was it, for cutting rope? That shouldn't be too difficult. I'd only meant to ask you along for the one trip, but if I'm to complete these tasks, would you be willing to indulge me a while longer? Oops. That's right. Bolt. Good day to you, young Euless. You look a little flustered, dear. Was there something I could help you with? Good day to you, madam. I was actually hoping to borrow a sickle. That all? Here, you can take this one. I have several spares, so there's no rush in returning it. Doing a spot of harvesting, are you? My thanks, but it's not for me, exactly. I was asked to bring one for my father. Your father? Shadow saved me. Forgive me, if you're to accompany me in these tasks, then you deserve to know the whole story. It was my father, Cliftal, who was the former mayor of Wright. And the incident I spoke of earlier was something that happened a year ago. One day a stray sin-eater came prowling around and slaughtered nearly half the village. It was a waking nightmare. Some of the villagers blamed my father. They said it was because he refused to accept the protection of Yulmore. The sheer scale of the tragedy and the accusations that followed wore away at his conscience, till finally he could bear the guilt no longer. He hanged himself. Luke, the old man we spoke to, was his closest friend, but considering how he worded his request, it seems he's reluctant to accept the fact of my father's death. Still, I would see this task to its end. Let us bring him his sickle, shall we? Have they not cut him down yet? Only a little morbid. To cut your pappy down. Luke, sir, we brought the sickle you asked for. Oh, good, good. Old Cliftal will be glad to see this. Oh, sir. Thank you for staying with me. This might be harder than I expected. Village of Woe complete. Disagreeable Dwarf. 70. Biot welcomes you to the village of Tomra. Cuff my helm, if it ain't that traveler we've been hearing about, and the elders had more than a few things to say. Best be giving you a proper welcome then, eh? Lally-ho. Lally-ho. Now that's what I like to see, a lally-ho straight from the heart. I only wish my own boy would put a bit more effort into his lollies and his hoes. He's always busy fiddling with his damn automata. No time for swapping words with folk of flesh and blood. Every dwarf knows that a lally-ho gets a lally-ho, and you're asking to become an outcast. My mother does worry, she does. That's only the half of it. I know it's just a stage all lads go through, but the little bugger has to argue with every word I say. I've just had the most clever idea. He'll not listen to me or the other villagers, but maybe, just maybe, curiosity for a stranger will win out over that sour attitude of his. Worth a try, don't you think? Please befriend my son, Ronnet. Just get him used to giving a proper greeting, that's all I ask. And I tell you, he really is a marvel with automata. If you end up getting along, he might even show you a few of his stranger contraptions. Ronnet, look, we've got a visitor. Why don't you say hello? For you, then. What? You got something to say to me? Holly-ho. Oh, you know our greeting. Humph. Lolly, mumble, mumble. Oh, Ronnet, my lad, you can do better than that. Head up, eyes front. No need to be shy. I'm not being shy. I'm stoic. Yes, dear, if you say so. Now, Ronnet, is everything else all right? You seem to be looking for something. Oh, no, it's just, I sort of lost my hammer. You what? Of all the irresponsible, careless, foolish... Ronet's hammer has been in the family for generations. It's a priceless heirloom that once belonged to Watts, the blacksmith of legend himself. What are you standing around for, boy? Find that hammer. We will do what we can to help. Right, why don't you have a chat with some villagers for me and ask if they've seen Ronet's hammer? Just remember your dwarven manners and all will be well. Area. Dwarf. Well, words with me then? The dwarven greeting. Oh, that's a fine lolly-ho you've got there, lass. I like you. Ronet? Ah, that sulky sprout's lost old Watt's hammer, has he? Well, lucky for him, I believe yon gentle dwarf picked it up. Time I was getting back to work then. Good day to you, stranger. You talking to me? Dwarven greeting. What's this? A perfect lolly-ho. You're no ordinary traveler, I see. Hammer I picked up? Aye, I reckoned I would hand it over to the elder for safekeeping. You're saying it belongs to young Ronet? Well, he can be a touch shouty, that boy. Do you think you could take it back to him for me? That's my part done, then. Ronet. Huh, why are you still here? Wait, this is my hammer. Oh, well, would you look at that? See, Ronet, give the right and proper greeting and folk will be glad to share a bit of kindness. Could be that you have a thing or two to learn from Zillia here. Huh? Are you lecturing me again? Well, maybe. Maybe you're not such a bad sort. I'll just put the hammer in a safe place somewhere. I mean to be famous smithy myself someday, so I'd best not lose it again. I'll leave you to it then. I know my boy's not the easiest to get along with, but he could sure use a friend like you. I don't need a friend. I don't need anyone. We're not going to be friends, understand? But you can stay around a little longer if you want. So now what? Disagreeable dwarf complete. Level 70. Talos interrupted. Ulyss appears ready to accept Saluk's next task. I'm grateful to have you with me. Thank you again. Saluk, sir, I believe you had more tasks for me? Still here, are you? Yes, tasks. Talos of mine that's taking far too long to make its return. Probably busy tussling with some dim-witted predator. Go and see how it fares and chase off anything slowing it down. But all the... Ah, you mean that Talos. Pray follow my lead. When the Talos in question is southwest of here, I've no doubt there will be dim-witted predators aplenty for you to deal with. Glad you were here. They must have burrowed in beneath the plates. I know Siluk implied the Talos was still moving, but as you can see, upon a time there'd be a line of these contraptions hauling materials down to the shipyard, step by ponderous step, which incidentally is how the slow road supposedly earned its name. After Daedalus Stoneworks closed down some 15 summers ago, there was no one left to make or maintain their creations. One by one, the Talos slowly fell into disrepair. Particular worker was damaged during that stray eater rampage, and it hasn't shifted an ilm ever since. It was always Siluk's favorite. Come, let us make our report. Luke, sir. Zillia has cleared away the pest who were bothering your Talos. Be left alone for the time being. Excellent news, but I expect he'll need good polishing when he returns. The most troublesome ones are often the most endearing, eh? Oh, sir. Done me a fine service, thank you. Gee, thank you. I never could have fought such creatures myself. If I might impose upon you for the next task as well. Talos interrupted, complete. Cape in bloom. Euless appears determined to complete the last of Siluk's tasks. Thank you again for staying. Honestly, could not do this without you. Luke, sir, were there any more tasks you had for us? One last thing. I want you to gather some pretty flowers from the split hole as a gift for my darling wife. Went out for her usual walk, but has not yet deigned to come home. I fear I may have said something sour to sour her mood. I understand. We shall gather a lovely bouquet for her then. Well, will you accompany me to the Cape for some flower picking? It's the most pleasant, isn't it? Aside from the aggressive wildlife, of course. Tell you about Siluk's wife. She was killed in the Eater incident, although I imagine you already suspected as much. They made such a sweet couple. Every day they would walk up this cape hand in hand, and she would gaze out over the flowers with this warm, contented smile. Siluk himself has some training as a warrior. He would guard her as if she were a princess, and he her gallant knight. I'm sorry, it's just... wounds of the heart are slow to mend. Siluk fit to serve as mayor. There are none who care for right and its people more than he. The villagers and I are certain that Siluk will rise to the occasion. He just needs a little more time. It's been but a year and we are all still suffering. Some seek to bury the misery beneath cheery faces, and others are yet trapped in the memories of past. Siluk, I fear, is one of the latter. If a bouquet of flowers is what it takes to help him work through his sadness, then I would pick every bloom from this cape. You give me a hand to find some of the prettier flowers. Pray think of it as a tribute to the... doom. See what we have. Yes, these are beautiful. Thank you. Siluk will be pleased. Take them back to Stonegazer before they get crushed in some scuffle. We have more after this. Like 3 or 4. We made it in the flowers and none the worse for wear. Hi Luke, Zilly and I have returned with a bouquet for your wife. Ah, splendid, thank you. Now perhaps she will come. We'll come back to... Sir. Ulysses, forgive me, I have asked such cruel things of you. I must apologize to you as well. My beloved wife, my dear neighbors, so many gone. After it happened, despair became my only company. I could not even save my closest friend when his torment was plain for all to see. I could never forgive myself. I embraced this delusion, thinking that maybe if I tried hard enough, if I truly believed they were still alive, that the events of that day would fade away like the nightmare it was. But I succeeded only in hurting those around me. I understand why you did what you did, sir. Truly, I do. You always were such a sweet child. I will place the flowers you brought on her grave. She would have loved them. As for me assuming the role of mayor, I am sorry, but I cannot give you a decision just yet. Take as long as you need. In fact, I might need a little time to recover myself. You give me a moment or two. Cape and Bloom, complete. Right for the job. Level 70. Ulysses awaits a decision from Siluk. Thank you for your patience, Zilly. Siluk still appears to be wrestling with his thoughts, but perhaps we can help him come to a decision. Sir, I don't mean to press you, but might you have arrived at an answer to my proposal? Not exactly, no. There is another matter I have yet to reconcile. Mind sharing this matter with us? It goes back to the day that the Eater attacked the village. I was taking my turn as lookout here at Stonegazer. Duty we take very seriously. They say when the tower was originally built in the time before the flood, they were worried about dwarves and mountain bandits, but these days... Yes, there's far worse prowling around, and I failed to spot it. The Eater which came that day did not appear as the other monstrosities I have seen. From a distance, it simply looked like a person. I wanted to be sure before I rang the warning bell, but I waited too long. Many could have fled, died because of my hesitation. How could a man of such faulty judgment ever serve you as mayor? What comfort can I offer those whose loved ones were needlessly slain? None, not whilst the abomination itself yet roams free to kill again. Would take vengeance on our behalf? That is good, for we were powerless before its might. Should the Eater show its cursed face again, then I pray you are as strong as you have. I know nothing of the roads you have walked or the battles you have fought, so I can but echo what Siluk has said. Our prayers will be victory. Well, sir, you heard Zilly's words. Talk of vengeance aside, I do not believe that villagers, either living or dead, hold you responsible for the actions of that monster. Yet I cannot fault you for wanting to remain distant. Pray forgive me for pestering you, sir. Hey, 'tis I who should beg forgiveness. Though you've lost much as anyone, I left you to shoulder the burden of leadership alone. All will be well with you back among us again. Come, let us return to the village. As I've said, it's unsafe to linger out here for long. One last escort back to right, if you would. Thanks for your protection, not to mention your unfailing patience. I hope now Siluk has unburdened his mind to us, his heart will be that tiniest bit lighter. I, for one, feel ready to face another day. After all, I have my friends and neighbors here to help me face it. There was one last thing I wanted to show both you and Cy Luke. It has to do with Wright's traditional industry, if you were interested in taking a look. Oh good, I was worried you'd had enough of me. The last errand for you then will be to have a word with Cy Luke and bring him to the barley fields at the front of the village. I'll be there tending to the crops until you arrive. Ah, I'm grateful for your understanding and the flowers you brought. My wife would have very much approved of the selection. Now, was there something you wish to discuss with me? Euless wants me there as well, does she? We had best head over to the fields then. This is what I wanted to show you, this barley crop right here. This was your father's plot, wasn't it? And you've been tending to it in his absence? Every single day I wanted to see his plans come true. Plans? Yes, he dreamed of restoring things to how the history books said they once were before the flood ruined everything. Our village has long been known as a place of artisans. Even the name Wright is a nod to all the craftsmen that once made their home here. Years gone by, it had said a line of Talos would stretch down the road, arms bearing lumber, and the shipyard would echo with the calls of shipwrights hard at work. The day was done, they would gather here to share an ale in the village. My father, he'd hoped to brew that traditional Wright ale with the barley from this crop, to one day tap a barrel with his family and dear friends and raise a toast. The future. Hi, Luke, Zilly. You raise a mug with me when that day comes? Of course I will. Ah, but my dear girl, the land here does not nourish the crops as it once did. I fear it will be some time ere you'll have barley fit for ale you have in mind. Meantime, will you help me with the rest of Cliftal's plans? Rest? Wanted things the way they once were, did he not? Then we must first recover from the tragedy which was visited upon us. There's no simple solution, but I mean to do what I can to lead our community out of this mire of pain and grief. Assuming you're still willing to have me as mayor. Yes, of course, sir. Thank you. I was set to live out the rest of my life in denial, but you and Euless have opened my eyes of this old fool and what needs to be done. That you have my thanks. Now I had best get to work. I have folk to talk to, plans to make. When you're finished here, Euless, I should appreciate your assistance. Well, Zilly, I think this is where we finally part ways. Thank you again for all you have done for us. People of Right will go on, even under the weight of our sorrow. Might not happen this day or the next, but together we'll find ways to make things better, to recapture the prosperity this village once had. Look forward to when you next visit. With any luck, I'll be waiting to put a frothing mug of right brewed ale in your hand. 70, right for the job. Ah. about that. I just... Quick little breather in case ends up being as long as we're looking for that one. Just hope they don't talk as much. Level 70, almost a friend. Ronit seems surprised to see you still around. You're staying around then? Not that I care. Since you're here, I might as well show you one of my favorite automata. Present to you the invincible, the unstoppable Megasonic Frog Boy. He might not look much different to the other models, but I've upgraded him with some new features I invented. Behold! Lally-ho! Lally-ho! You only need one law. You only need one law. Well, pretty amazing, huh? Hey, what's that look for? Oh, I see. You're thinking. He can greet some overgrown toy just fine, but he's too scared to talk to actual people. You just don't understand me. You just don't understand me. I got bigger things to worry about than minding my manners. You helped me out with my stuff, though, and maybe I'll forgive you for underestimating me. Just this one time, though. So, I need you to take this coal to Zemet. He's one of the village elders, and her automaton is due for some fuel. Howdy-ho, you must be the visitor Zammot was talking about. What can this old lady do for you? Oh, on a little errand for Ronit, are you? That's nice. Can't get around like I used to, what with this bent back of mine. Would you mind feeding that coal straight into Diligent Spirit over there? Diligent Spirit, oh. Hey, okay. See it through all the text. Poured the lot in then, have you? Thank you, dear. You're as kind as our Ronit. He heard how my back was giving me trouble. That fine young lad went and hammered together my oddly named helper here. Hardly a day goes by when he doesn't stop past to see if it's working properly. Aye, he's a surly boy, but his heart's in the right place. The pity he handles his failures with frustration. If he persevered with his greetings instead of lashing out, I'm sure he'd be capable of lovely lally-ho. Actually, I'm surprised he even asked you to bring me my fuel. I've never known him to do that before, not with anyone. I have a feeling you'll be the one to get through to him last, so be patient if you can. Thank you again for the delivery. You delivered the coal to Zemet then? Wait, she didn't say anything strange about me, did she? Anyway, thanks for the help. Maybe you and I can be friends after all. Maybe, I said. Almost a friend, complete. Practiced greeting. Ronit appears to be appraising his relationship with you. Ah, so, this means we're friends now, right? That it does. That's good then. It's just, I've never had a friend before. I'm not sure where to go from here. I was wondering, though, why did my mother bring you to see me? Was it all her idea? Is that why you're being so nice to me? I guess even if that was true, you're no less of a good sort for agreeing to it. Heh. Hey, I know my mother worries about me being alone all the time, but I can't even talk to her without getting defensive. How can she expect me to get along with anyone else? You've met lots of folks on your travels, haven't you? Some tricks to help me talk to other villagers. I'd like to hear them. You know, this might be the longest conversation I've had in a good while. Must be because we're friends now, eh? Hey. You should work on your greetings. Dwarf needs a good lolly-ho. Aye, in that case, I will need your help after all. I don't think I could stand to have anyone else watching over me. You do have one of the best lolly-hos I've seen, so with you guiding me, maybe I've got a chance to improve. But I can't skip straight to greeting people, and spending time on my automata is what caused me problems in the first place. You know, my only option now is monsters, preferably one which shaped like a person. Come on then, I'm off to find me a practice partner. Okay. Fine serpents. That twitchy lad there should do the trick. As long as I don't make myself a threat, he shouldn't have a reason to attack us. Hey, you there, two legs. Look at me when I'm talking to you. Wait, that's not right. The greeting. Gotta practice the greeting. Lolly. My hands are shaking. Lolly, hey, you big lump of useless golem garbage. Oops. I didn't mean it. Take it back, that garbage bit. Warg. Oh, this was not part of the plan. Hey, run away, run it. Save you. Alright, tell him. I'm sorry, I made a mess of things. Damn it all to the deepest mine shaft. Why can't I do it? I'm a bloody dwarf, ain't I? Bonnet has fled in his frustration. Perhaps he needs a friend to rally his spirits. Best friend, right? You came after me. You really are a kind soul, ain't you? I'm still kind of a prickly sort, but I do dream of helping the other villagers with my smithing skills, just like the great Watts did. Just that I've spent my whole life tinkering with automata instead of learning how to speak to folk. Always been awkward. And that got worse when I realized people were avoiding me. It made me angry, made me throw up walls and shut others out. Then it wasn't long before no one would come anywhere near me. Soon you'll have to leave too, and then I'll be all alone again. Overthinking the greeting, just put your heart into it. There are people out there willing to give you a chance. You're still trying to help me? Suppose I could give it another try. A clumsy lolly-ho might be better than no lolly-ho at all. Right, my mind's made up. I can do this. Be the dwarf I need to be. You'll be there with me, though, right? Practice greeting complete. Gotta find your inner lolly-ho, Ronnet. Turning to lolly-ho, Ronnet is ready to return to Tomra. I'm ready. Are you ready? Going back into that village to give them my best lolly-ho. You are coming with me, ain't you? Good. I'll start with one of the friendlier folks. Here we go. Lolly-ho. Lally. Ah, thieving hobgoblins. Ronnet, are you mad at me or something? Can't give up yet. Maybe someone quieter. Gently now. You know, at least he's trying. Eek. I gave it back, Ronnet. I swear I don't have your hammer. Yeah, that was from that. My nerves keep getting the best of me. Maybe I should just stick to automata. No, I can do this. I'll not let you down after all you've done for me. Do eat. All over town. Yeah, talk to Zimut. Oh, young Ronnet, was there something you needed? Lolly. You can do it, Ronnet. Be the dwarf you want to be. Lolly-ho. 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 Now that's what I call a greeting, dear. Well done. Never heard a lolly-ho like that before, Ronnet. You damn near knocked me off my feet. I almost thought you were going to strike old Zemet there. How ridiculous. Our Ronnet would never do such a thing. It's a bit excitable, I'll grant you, but those angry words don't speak for his sweet heart. Who do you think dreamed up and built my helpful automaton here? Even strong enough to carry me, should I need it. Now, Ronnet, you've shown what you can do. How about you give a nice greeting to these good folk as well? Lolly-ho. Tally-ho, Ronnet. I fear I may have misjudged you. Tally-ho. Ah, a good greeting is so reassuring, and here I thought you didn't like me. Nor me. If you've the time, I'd like to see the plans for that helper you built. An automaton strong enough to carry a full-grown dwarf. Incredible. Of course, I don't dislike any of you, and I'd be glad to share how I built my inventions. That's a promise, then. We'll be seeing you, Ronnet. Good boy. I can't believe it. Good for you, dear. I think a little gratitude towards your friend here might be in order. Now, if you'll excuse me, this old lady has things to do and nary enough time to do them in. You see that? I greeted people properly, and they greeted me back. Folk want to talk to me for the first time in my life, and it's all thanks to you. Awesome. Oh, you have to come and meet my mother again so I can introduce her to my friend. That's... and sad. Ah, a real-life friend. Oh, hello, you two. Lolly-ho. Lolly-ho. Well, polish my helm and shine my horns. Ronnet, you've learned to give a proper greeting. Yeah, nothing to it. I had a little help from a friend, though. Oh, well, what did I tell you, eh? I knew you'd be a good influence on my Ronnet. Done for him what his own mother couldn't, and for that I'm deeply thankful. I never thought I'd see the day. Aye, it's the oddest thing. After I'd managed the first lolly-ho, the next one came easier, and now I never want to stop. Guessing you've got places to be. Be sure to come back and visit sometime. Not that I'll be lonely or anything. See you soon, Zilly. Turn into lolly-ho, complete. Got a little emote, too. You've learned the emote, lolly-ho. Where'd you go? Talk to him for my next quest. Ronnet to the rescue. Ronnet looks pleased to see you. Silly, I was hoping you'd come back to see me. Hey, lolly-ho. After you left, I said a lolly-ho to every soul I could find, and now the whole village has started talking to me. A couple of lads are even helping me to invent some new automata. I'm well on my way to becoming the most famous smithy in Tomra. If I'm to be truly legendary blacksmith, there's just one little thing I'm missing. Good drop of grog. It ain't that Tomra's brews are bad, but if I could get my hands on an extra fine fermented beverage, then I reckon my work would really take off. So any idea where I might find a barrel of the good stuff? Bright ale. And this drink once put their village on the map, eh? Well then I'd best take a trip down the cliff and have a chat with their leader. You're coming with me, ain't you? Yeah, if there's booze involved. Well, look who it is. Really, how wonderful to see you again. Last you were here, I've been officially appointed as Mayor of Wright. As such, my days have grown busy with visits to neighboring settlements to reacquaint myself with the region's politics. My old bones protest at the exercise, to say naught of the strain upon my rusty faculties. Speaking of visits, I see you've arrived with a companion. Hi, I'm Ronit of Tomra Village. Don't think just because I'm smaller than you that, Tally-ho. Tally-ho? Oh, I've heard of this. It's a traditional dwarven greeting, is it not? I see. Well, let us not ignore the customs of our guest. Gonna lally-ho too? Him, lally-ho. Lally-ho. Heh. Not bad for first-timers. Not bad at all. Everyone's happy when their lally-ho gets a lally-ho. Now let's see a barrel of your tastiest grog. I beg your pardon? I'm not sure I follow. Ah, well, I'm afraid we're still struggling to improve the fertility of the land itself. As yet, we're unable to grow barley of sufficient quantity and quality to brew the ale for which we were once famous. It's a matter of trial and error at this point. I'm sorry to disappoint you. Now, what's with the sour faces? You just need something to liven up the soil, am I right? You've some experience with cultivating fields, Master Ronit? And not exactly, but I think I might be able to help all the same. Come on, Zilly, we need to make a quick trip back to Tomra. Can he truly help us feed our fields? It sounds too good to be true. I have no idea what Master Ronit's plans might be, but with you involved, we can at least rest easy that naught bad will come of them. Back to Tomra. About time you showed up. See, I remembered something Zimmit told me once. Zimmit, you tell me that story about Amity again, the bit about the trading goods? Villagers and Wright are having trouble growing crops in their scratchy fields, and I wanted to do something to help. And you're thinking of the rock phosphate we used to trade to Yulmore. Rock phosphate? And that's the fertilizer, is it? Crushed into small bits, you can spread it over a field to enrich the soil, but the old seam was mined out years ago, and I've not heard if we've come across another. Sounds perfect. You know, aside from there not being any left, no one kept a stockpile then. Well, they might still have a chunk or two over in Amity. That was where all the old trading house used to stand, neutral ground and all. Right, to Amity I go. I suppose you'd best come along. That boy's come a long way in a short time, and I'm a good idea why. Or Ron is lucky to have a friend like you. Never had a friend. Friends. Like. Right. Lally-ho. Well, now, if it isn't one of the Thalls come to visit, a fine lally-ho to you, sir. Come looking for a rock phosphate. I just need a handful, assuming you've got any. Yellowish fertilizer stuff. I reckon we had some stashed away someplace. Might be as you'll find a hunk of it hiding in one of the old trading crates. Go ahead and take a handful if that's all you want. Can I just have it? That's very kind of you. I'm glad you were here. Still a bit nervous greeting outsiders. Anyway, let's get to cracking open those crates. Keep an eye out for anything yellow and lumpy. Crates everywhere. Where the little... There we go. Find a small chunk of yellow-hued stone. It appears to match the description of rock phosphate. Any luck on your end? Alright, just look at that color. This has to be the stuff. Now I've got a good-sized sample. I can build an automaton to sniff out new seam of phosphate. This will be one of my best inventions yet. While I'm throwing that together, I need you to head back to Wright and tell those folk to meet me on the west side of Tomra. I'll make sure everything's assembled and ready before you arrive. Mineral fertilizer, you say? The name does sound vaguely familiar. I've experimented with all manner of compost over the years, but I'm willing to try anything to rejuvenate our fields. I wonder if another seam of this precious rock can still be found. We can but put our faith in Master Ronick. Come, let us not be late for our meeting. A lot of trouble for ale. Worth it. Got a little lally-ho down. Oh good, I just finished testing my new model. Behold the mineral finding marvel that is Orehound Ogre. Such a colorful name. And this contraption is meant to sniff out phosphate for us, it is? Hey, you just watch and see. Just click, sensors activated. That what I think it is? Sounding, you've invented a servant to not only track down rock phosphate, but also carve it out and cart it back? How did you accomplish such a feat? Yeah, you learn a thing or two when you aim to be the best damn blacksmith this village ever saw. I thought that trundling bucket of bolts would lead me to you, young Ronnet. Eldermost elder. Ah, you must be Chief Zammot. I am Siluk, Mayor of Wright. Master Ronnet here was just... Need I explain? Zim had already told me everything. Seems you've been working your beard thin for Wright's folk and their harvesting woes, eh? A fine example of thole diligence, my boy. Master Ronnet, we are truly grateful for the lengths to which you have gone to assist us in our hour of need. Now hold on a moment. I'm only doing this so as I can get some fine ale to drink. Ale, you're too young to drink, you snot-nosed stripling. What's wrong with admitting you're just trying to help? Zammot, you can't say it straight out like that. I'm building an image here. Ha ha ha, ga ha ha. Your permission, Chief Zammot, we should like to take this rock phosphate back to our village. We have our promise that we shall put it to good purpose and one day return the favor with our best barrel of right ale. That's a deal I can get behind. Aye, I think it's high time we Thulls reopen trade with our neighbors. Hey, just leave the delivery to me, but first I need to speak with my friends and build a few more Orehounds. You hear that, sir? Instead of Talos, we shall soon have line of automata rolling into the village. Once more have you shown us the path forward, and that is not the only thing I must thank you for. I don't think I've enjoyed such heartfelt laugh in many a moon. Bless the day you came into our lives and changed our fate for the better. This kindness will not be forgotten. I could say much the same. I'd still be alone with my automata if you hadn't come along when you did. All them folk who gave me wary frowns now greet me with a smile. Oh, great. Well, I'd be best headed off. I'm to be known as Master Ronnet, the greatest blacksmith who ever lived. I've still got plenty of work to do. I'll be seeing you, Zilly. Leo? Hey, booze. Ronnet to the rescue. Okay, so now we have one more quest. Oh. Orphan time. Awesome. Heard about Calmra. This one. I think it's crafting. Quest is not yet available. Required class job, Disciple of the Hand. Level 70, it's Dwarfentine. A Tomran dwarf finds himself far from home, far by Tomran standards, that is. Bugger my beard, you scared the life out of me. For a moment, I thought you were a hobgoblin. Seems being so far from Tomra has got me jumping at shadows. Hold on, I know you. You're the one who was helping Ronnet. As for me, the name's Regit. I forgot to introduce myself before, but I was there when that off little lad gave his first proper lolly-ho. What, you don't remember me? In all fairness, the fact you're covered from head to toe in identical outfits does make it a little difficult to tell one dwarf from the... Oh, don't be racist, Cy Luke. They all look alike. Well, they have their ways and we have ours. Anyway, it's wonderful to see you again, Zilly. Regit was just asking us for direction. I'd almost forgotten about that. Actually, I was on my way to... What was it called? Crystal Town. No, that's not it. Something to do with crystals. God, why can't I remember the sodding name? Ronnet is nowhere to be found. He did leave a note behind in Tomra, though. Yes, the letter. I have it right here. Whoever might be concerned, I am off to the Crystarium to find my first and best friend, Zilly. Oh, that's... Chief asks where I've gone, just make something up. The automata will take care of my work, so he should have no reason to complain. Oh, and don't forget to feed them while I'm away. With coal, that is. Bye. That's what it says, anyway. That boy may have mastered the fine art of a good old-fashioned lolly-ho, but that won't get him very far in the Crystaria, or whatever it's called. Yes, and even if the opening pleasantries go as planned, it's what comes after that matters most. He'd be the first to admit that polite conversation isn't exactly his forte. If he went there looking for Zilly, maybe the two of you could go and find him before he gets into or causes any trouble. That reminds me. Will Ronnet being let away lead to any difficulties in the rock phosphate for grog arrangement between our village? Like, we're still gonna get our booze, right? The Orehound ogre he built seems to be going about its work as normal, even without him here to operate it. I think we'll be fine for the time being. All right, that settles it. We're off to find Ronnet, although I should probably point out that this is actually the first time I've gone more than a malm or so outside of Tomra. I'm counting on you, so please try to keep the mishaps and misadventures the bare minimum. Not that I'm scared, mind you. Ho ho, not one bit. Ahem. Without any further ado, let's make haste for the Christophorium. We wish you both a safe journey to the Christarium. Hee hee. Christarium. Did you ever seen so many people in one place? Unfortunately, not one of them is our errant engineer. Where could he be? I wouldn't be surprised if he's whimpering in some corner, wishing he'd never come here. All these big folk walking about, he's probably scared one of them will trip over him. I'll slap my arse and call me a fuka. You're the second honest to God's dwarf I've seen today. Really? So where was the first? Over at the mean, playing hide and seek by the looks of it, or maybe he was just lost. That's him, it's got to be. Come on, Zilly, let's go nab him before he runs off again. Right here. Up the crystalline mean. This is the mean, eh? From the name, I thought it'd be full of scowling faces, but they all seem quite friendly. Anyway, where'd Ronnet get to? Ah, found him. So many of them, so sodden tall, I wish Zilly were here. Zilly detected. Zilly! Actually didn't see it coming. Boy, watch it, short arse. Be rude about it. So when you heard that Zilly is staying in the Crystarium, you came here looking for her. Quite the journey for one so young. Getting here was easy. Starting conversations was hard. Every time I try giving someone a good old-fashioned lolly-ho, they look at me like I'm daft or something. Never mind all that. You found Zilly in the end, or she found you, more like. Come to think of it, why were you looking for her in the first place? Simple, really. I always thought Zilly was just I don't know, helpful traveler or some such. But the chief tells me she's a hero who risks life and limb to save the world. When I heard that, I thought that it's only right that I do the same. Trouble is, I'm not sure where to start, but I'm not going back to Tomra until I find a way to prove myself your equal. While I'm not much of a fighter, there are other ways I can help those in need. Because unlike the rest of my village who can't think beyond their next pint of ale, I've got big dreams, ambitions. Now, there's nothing wrong with a well-earned drink or 10 after a hard day's work, but that's besides the point. How can you hope to compete with someone like Zilly? Might be known as the greatest warrior the world's ever seen. Or world. There's one thing I can do better than you, crafting. Oh. I'm a crafter too, you fluffy bearded nincompoop. Actually, I've been known to dabble in artistry myself. Call me out. But what? You must be joking. Azilia's been putting her skills as an armorer to help around the mean for some time now. Oh, because I'm playing as armorer. Trust me, to make friends with one of those annoying people who's good at everything, I suppose there's no need to make it into a competition, though. Why don't we, what's the word? Cooperate. There might be someone around here who needs our help. How about you, miss? Got anything that needs mending? Or maybe one of my patented automata can carry out a few menial tasks? Where to begin? Did receive a report a few days ago of a caravan of merchants being attacked by roving sin-eaters not far from Sullen. While they were able to escape without any casualties, they had no choice but to abandon almost all of the produce they were transporting. I fear it's only a matter of time until it happens again. Is there anything you can do? Sin-eaters, bugger that. This fetch-o-matic mechatoad might come in handy. A few extra spiky bits should do the trick. On second thought, it might take more than that. I'll need somewhere to use as a workshop to carry out some modifications. Mean to say you build these yourselves? Certainly is imposing, in a way only a three-wheeled mechanical frog can be. Now there's a fine compliment if I ever heard one. I think the example of a dwarven engineering was lovingly crafted by young Ronnet here. He's a descendant of the great blacksmith Watts and well on his way to becoming the pride of Tomra in his own right. Yes, judging by the quality of his work, I can see why. In fact, I have a proposal if you're willing to lend us your expertise and arrange space for you to use as a workshop. Really? I say space, that's essentially all there is. We'd planned to build a storehouse near the hostile imperative, but we had to divert our resources elsewhere, and it was never completed. It's you'd put it to good use. After all, a friend of Zilly's is a friend of ours. Very generous of you, miss. I'll turn that place into a first-class workshop and 2 shakes of a newborn's beard. Excellent. I'll inform those at the Imperative so they aren't too surprised when automata start appearing out of the blue. Guess you make yourselves known to Larathia, who owns the land. She's a regular at the Clearmelt Springs, so try there first. Looks like some meeting and greeting is in order. I reckon it'll go a lot smoother if you're there to cover for me in the likely event I put my foot in somehow. Also, I have no bloody idea how to get there, so lead the way. Made it here. Oh no, we don't have new areas up on a job that can't max out. Not much, but it adds up. This is Clearmelt, eh? Funny name for a bunch of rocks and a couple of ponds, if you ask me. More importantly, where's that Larathia person? You there, old crone. I'm looking for Larathia. You know where she is? Call me an old crone again, and I'll rip that silly beard off and shove it down your throat, you mouthy little gobshite. But if it's Larathia you're after, you're looking at her. What do you want? Atlas sent you, did she? If she thinks you're all right, that's good enough for me. Tell me, what are you planning to make in this workshop of yours? And don't go thinking you can impress me with a load of technical jargon. I was an engineer myself, you know. I'm going to modify this here automaton so that it can transport goods and keep them safe from sin eaters. Ah, won't be transporting much of anything with their stubby little arms, let alone fend off attackers. Even if it could store goods in its torso, by the time it's done windmilling into the bastards, all those wares will have been shaken to buggery. Good luck to the poor sods who have to sell that. Yeah, but the windmilling's the best part. On it, the old woman has a point, you know. Less of the old, or I'll use that beard of yours to scrub the bass with the rest of you still attached. But we need a way to carry as much as possible while striking the sin eaters from a distance. That's it, everyone gather around. I'm gonna build like a weapon. Yeah, we built something like with like the mining quest. Heaven's work from, I don't know. Wicked White, it's so old, the ink's probably the only thing holding it together. Designs from the days before the flood, the brainchild of the great Watts himself. It's a self-propelled transportation device, armed to the teeth. I called it the Rolling Tankard. Thick iron shell keeps the cargo inside safe and sound, while the cannon blasts any attackers to smithereen. Amazing coincidence that you've had the perfect solution in your pocket this whole time, even before you knew what the problem was. Ain't no coincidence. Ever since I found a bunch of blueprints in a tightly locked safe back when I was little, I've taken them with me wherever I go. Never know when Watts' ideas might come in handy. Of course, I'm not just going to make one of these. Oh no, I'll make a whole bunch of them and send them all over Norfrance. Soon everyone will see how great dwarven engineering really is. This only shows how it should look from the outside, with no mention of the inner workings. Are you sure you can pull this off? I'd bet my beard on it. To be honest, dwarven technology's come a long way since Watts' time. He probably didn't design the insides because there was no way to actually make something like this back then. Luckily, we've got my skills to bring Watts' ideas to life. I'll have a prototype up and running in no time. Listen, Ronnet, you're not the only one who knows how to swing a hammer around here. If we combine our efforts, it'll be ready even sooner. Cheers, mate. Appreciate it. Let's say, I'd be interested to see how this all turns out. I'll let you use my land as long as you don't turn it into a smoldering crater. You won't regret this, but if we're to build a workshop, we need a few more pairs of hands. I'll head back to Tomra and round up some volunteers. Hold it right there. This place is going to be overrun with dwarves. At least give me some way to tell you apart. How am I meant to know who's who if you all dress like that? Not sure if you realize this, madam, but we dwarves don't exactly have extensive wardrobes. But in the interest of smooth running operation, I'll ask my friend Karut if there's anything we can do. So much for helping. More like bugger off back to Tomra and leave poor Ronnet to do everything by himself. Well, you're still here, so you can give me a hand instead. Let's go and take a look at this plot of land, shall we? Good, this is my... Welcome to the workshop, or workshop to be, I suppose I should call it. Either way, this is where Watts' vision will become reality. Although I have to admit, it's not going to be as easy as I've made it out. Having you here does make the task seem less daunting, though. Even though I was a bit miffed at first to hear you're into crafting as well, stealing my thunder and all that, I'm glad we've got something in common. You can lend a hand between whatever it is the Warrior of Darkness does the rest of the time. It'd mean the world to me. What do you say? Will you help me? What in the world needs now is tanks, sweet tanks. Of course I'll help. No, you talked yourself into this. Build your own damn tanks. Thanks, sweet. Thanks. Phew. I was worried you was going to say no for a moment there. Now let's make some tanks. Tanky. But before that, there are a few things we need to get in order. We won't get much work done without something at least resembling a workshop. If you're in the mood for help, and maybe you could rustle me up some basic parts. I've got a list of everything I need. Anyone with even a passing interest in metalworking should be able to manage it, so I'm sure you'll be fine. Another example of my incredible foresight, I've already had the Fetch-O-Matic Mekato collect a load of random, potentially very useful materials on the way over. This should be enough. Somehow managed to bugger it up. Don't worry, we've got plenty more. I'll be taking care of the rest of the preparation, so come and see me when you're done. Oh, so have to be regular. Say anything about quality. All done. Let's see what you brought me then. I gotta say, I wasn't expecting it to be quite this good. Not showing off, are you? Me and the Mecha Toad, I'll take care of the rest. So you go and put your feet up for a bit. Don't want you taking all the credit now. Dwarfing time. There you are. Welcome to Watts Anvil. Two of you did all this? I can't believe it. Hey, you run it? Why, I hardly recognize you. Have you done something with your beard? Well spotted, Karut. According to the legends, Watts had a brown beard and white horns. Seeing as I'm his descendant, I thought I'd follow suit. Now that we've got a proper workshop, we can get started on making a prototype of the rolling tankard. Tell the truth, I'm not used to having this sort of pressure. Still, I've got you and the others here to do the heavy lift, essential task. So I'm sure everything will go exactly as planned. Speaking of essential tasks, I'll be handling the supply of the various parts and whatnot, so come and see me when you're ready to show us those skills of yours. Conan and his fellow dwarves have thrown themselves wholeheartedly into their newest enterprise, namely to provide trundling death machines for the needy. No, it's one of the bad dwarves. Their names, but they wear the wrong hats. Tribal quest complete. Watts Anvil, tribal quest unlocked. Your reputation has increased to friendly. You have achieved friendly reputation with Watts Anvil. Dwarf tribal quests are now available from Regid at Watts Anvil. Furthermore, you may now purchase wares from Mizit. On. Level 70, a piss up in a brewery. Ronit has overlooked something rather important. Not only are you talented, but hard-working too. You've really made a difference around here. As for me, I've never made anything like this before, so it's taken a while to get the engine right. Who'd have thought making a tank could be so complicated? Reckon I'll have it worked out before long, but there's one problem I've been struggling with: the fuel. Suppose it wouldn't hurt to ask the others if they've got any ideas. Alright, lads and ladettes, it seems like the cobalt coal we use for the automata ain't gonna cut it. The tank's just too heavy even when it's empty, never mind with a full load of cargo. Of course, making it lighter is an option, but we can't cut back on armor or those sin eaters will rip through it like it were paper, and there ain't no point in putting a limit on the amount it can carry because that defeats the purpose of it. Actually, I'm not sure it's a good time to mention this, but get the feeling we're being watched. If one of those bastard hobgoblins has followed us here, I'll smash its bloody head in. Who are you calling a hobgoblin? The evil tribe. They're the wrong hats. I've no time to deal with underlings. It's the twice, nay, thrice cursed Ronit. I, Ozog the Gog, proud descendant of the great Watts, challenge you to a test of skill with Watts' hammer on the line. What the hell are you talking about? If you're a descendant of Watts, I'm a two-headed Amaro. His blood flows in my veins, not yours. Can't you see I'm busy? I'm trying to build a prototype of the rolling tankard. What? I don't have a clue what you mean, but it sounds fascinating. Not that I care what any of you and your band of dundering dunderheads are up to. All I want is to challenge you and prove who's the better engineer. Surely your pride compels you to accept, unless you're scared, that is. I ain't scared of nothing. The showdown you're after, a showdown's what you'll get, but not until I finish this tank. Of course, the quicker it gets done, the quicker you can pit your skill against mine. Oh, I see what you're getting at. This is your roundabout way of asking for my help, isn't it? Judging by the sorry state of that, whatever it's supposed to be, you certainly need it. This is what it takes for you to relinquish Watt's hammer, so be it. You shambling charlatan. Is that the sound of impending disaster I hear? I assume you've got at least some crafting chops to back up that mouth of yours. I'll have you know that even Gog babies can produce better work than the shoddy rubbish that passes for engineering in Tomra. But I gather you've started building that tank of yours without even considering what sort of fuel to use. I'll be here until my next name day if I wait for you lot to find a solution for yourselves, so I'll let you use the GOG secret formula, which is sure to work. Naturally, I expect something in return. Frog and plenty of it. Maybe we can get some for the rest of us while we're at it. Nothing like a drunken buzz to increase productivity. Yes, definitely. There's nowhere to get decent brew from malms around, and we lack the means to make it ourselves. Bless my beard, you call yourselves dwarves? Tell you what, I'll build you a brewing machine on the condition I can have grog from it whenever I want. Agreed? I'll need an assistant, though. You over there, lend me a hand, would you? Heard some convoluted schemes in my time, a few of them my own. This is something else. Oh well, as long as it doesn't interfere with my work, I couldn't give a hob's arse what she does. Think we can spare you for a bit, so why not humor her? I'll be installing the machinery at the top of those steps, so when you're ready to see a real engineer in action, just say the word, and if you even think about sabotaging it to make me look bad, I shall be very cross. Here, we'll just run. Listen, I didn't just pick you at random, you know. I've been watching from afar and I've seen the way you work. While I won't go so far as to say I'm impressed, you're a cut above the rest of these talentless hacks. I'd be interested to see how you cope when working alongside someone of my caliber. While I design the brewing apparatus, I'll have you produce a few basic components. Of course, we won't be doing much brewing without brewing vats, so show me what you're capable of. And I suppose you'll be needing the raw materials, won't you? Let me see. I think there should be some in the automaton. Problem solved. It seems the Thal's habit of carrying a load of rubbish around with him actually paid off for once. Well then, what are you waiting for? I'm keen to show you this bunch of reprobates what proper grog tastes like. And we're keen to do the tasting. Let's get to work, shall we? Fetch the materials first. Deep request for materials acknowledged. Regular, no quality. That. I'm well over leveled for all. Done, are you? Took you long enough, but it was worth the wait. Now we're only a few simple steps away from producing lovely, lovely grog. Actually, I was hoping to try a new recipe I've come up with that uses local ingredients. This ought to be good for a laugh. I'll bet it tastes even worse than the usual dregs you Thals serve up. As long as we switch over to my recipe afterwards, I don't see the harm in trying, though. Down the hatch. Yeah, booze. It's always good to get sloshed before building stuff or operating heavy machines. Under Ozog's watchful eye, Watts' anvil is now equipped with a fully functioning brewery and a central part of any tank building facility. The majority of the workforce now blind drunk. The next logical step is to begin producing large quantities of highly flammable fuel for their experimental war machine. These Thals certainly seem to be enjoying the booze. I suppose I could do them the honor of passing a little across my palate. By Watt's beard, this is incredible. In fact, it might be even better than the ale we make in Comra. So the recipe is of my own invention. Your brewing techniques are the key to its unique flavor, Ozog. Hope you don't mind me interrupting this knees up to discuss your side of the bargain. What are you planning to do about my tank fuel, eh? Planning? Why, it's already been dealt with. Take a closer look. Hey, it looks like a brewing vat to me. Ah, that shows how much you know. Behold, the patented grog ethanol mill. By fermenting various forms of vegetation like dry grass and so on, then distilling it a few times, we're able to produce fuel that can be used in a range of machines. Think of that, you simple-minded simpletons. That's bloody brilliant! And you started working on it before we even gave you your grog. You don't waste any time, that's for sure. Really quite remarkable. I'd say our doubts have been laid to rest, at least as far as her skills as an engineer are concerned. Ah, let this be a lesson to all you naysayers, but the proof, as they say, is in the pudding, and you'll see the true extent of my genius once you feast your eyes on the power of ethanol fuel. Yeah, let's not get ahead of ourselves. For all we know, the whole thing might blow up in our faces, but I suppose it would be poor form not to express my appreciation, so thanks, Ozog. Try not to sound too enthusiastic about it, but if you're in the mood for giving praise, I reckon Zilly deserves some too. Yes, all right, I hadn't forgotten. Good work. Ozog couldn't have done it without you. Kiss up in the brewery. Rebel quest complete. Watts Anvil, reputation up. Your reputation has increased to trusted. You've achieved trusted reputation with Watts Anvil. 2 Dwarf Tribal daily quests are now available from Regid at Watts Anvil. Furthermore, you will be able to undertake 3 additional quests from Regid as a reputation bonus. This bonus is available until the daily reset time for tribal quests. Additional quests will become available after accepting all current daily quests from Regid. Please be advised you cannot undertake these quests if you have no remaining allowances. You now have access to a wider selection of wares from Mizut. Level 70, I heard you like tanks. Ronit appears to have something in his eye. You cannot be certain because of his helmet, but it may be a twinkle. Time to work on the most interesting part of the Roland Tankard's design, the cannon. Me and the others have a few things to go over first, so come and join us in the usual place. Those bastard Sin Eaters won't even get the chance to test our defenses if we blow their heads off first. That's why we need a cannon. The bigger, the better. Of course, there were no Sin Eaters back in Watts' time, but with a bit of Thol ingenuity. Hold it right there. Aren't you afraid I'll steal your secrets? And why did you even invite me to this meeting in the first place? But you might... Well, you want me to finish building these tanks, don't you? Our reasons might be different, but we're working towards the same goal. Yeah, besides, you've already built the brewery, the ethanol mill, and shared a bunch of your secrets with us. You're on board with that now, whether you like it or not. I didn't agree to become one of your lackeys. I come and go as I please. And how do I know all this stuff about Sin Eaters isn't some elaborate ruse? You could be building these war machines to attack Comra. Well, we weren't planning to, but now that you mention it... Ozog, that's a load of claptrap, and you know it. If we wanted to invade Comra, it'd be as easy as snatching the helmet off a baby, and we wouldn't need no tanks neither. We just want to help people, that's all. Ain't that right? That's all very noble, I'm sure, but I'm only here for one thing. Watts' hammer. If I get my hands on it, means I have to help your idiotic plan, so be it. Idiotic? That's rich coming from you, and maybe you should wait till I've finished explaining about the cannon before you start judging. Gonna build a gun. Cool cannon. I mean, we're making a tank. Mean to say Sin Eaters won't run away even if they're injured? Watts' beard. What have we gotten ourselves into? Why injure them when you can kill them outright? They won't be getting up again if you blast them to smithereens. A nice bit of gunpowder should do the trick, but I wouldn't trust you Thols not to blow yourselves to bits in the process. Silly, you fought Sin Eaters, haven't you? Got any suggestions? Bombarding them with magic from a distance usually gets the job done. A beam of pure energy, it'll look pretty too. Ion cannon! So we can destroy Sin Eaters and look good while we do it? Well, it's got my vote. And the only method I can think of would be to charge a crystal with ether and then release it all in one go, though I hate to say it, but this is rather outside my field of expertise. Why don't you ask that Larathia lady over at the Clear Melt? She used to be an engineer. Worth a try, I guess. Feel a lot better if you came with me for moral support. Like, to tell the truth, I find her a bit intimidating. Anyway, let's get going. Landlord, right? Yeah. Larathia. Phew, thank the gods you're here. I was afraid I'd have to talk to her by myself. Oh well, here goes nothing. Hully ho, old crone. Bloody hells, I see your manners haven't improved since the last time we met. Whatever it is you came to say, spit it out. I've got guests arriving soon. You want to fit the tanks with ether cannons, so you do have more than sawdust in that head of yours. Seems like a backhanded compliment to me, but I'll take it all the same, though I must admit I'm not used to working with ether and whatnot. I don't suppose you know anything about it. As a matter of fact, I'm the one who designed the crystal cannons lining the walls of the Crystarium. Now, you're pulling my leg. I've had a lot of strange coincidences lately, but that's not even remotely feasible. Wait, you're serious, aren't you? Of course I am, but if you want me to share my secrets, you better make it worth my while. I know where this is leading. You're going to send us to the ends of the earth on some godforsaken errand. Test our resolve, aren't you? No, you bloody idiot. That's not what I mean at all. Listen, I have some friends coming over for tea, and I want the pair of you to join us. Gee, that's slightly less perilous than I was expecting. But what does that have to do with anything? You shut your pie hole, you might find out. My guests are twin sisters whose supply caravans run the length and breadth of Norvrant. I reckon they'll have more than a passing interest in buying those tanks of yours. Ah, you mean to tell me we can make a profit on those tanks? These tanks? I was planning to give them away for nothing, but I might as well take the opportunity to line my pockets. It's clear your friend's not much of a businessman, so you'd better do the talking. I have some things to prepare before my guest arrives, so give me a few moments, would you? Now that everything's in order, we're ready to begin. Try not to look so tense, dear. Mission, should you choose to accept it, is to engage Lorathia's guest in polite conversation and extol the virtues of Rana's master plan. Choose the best responses and generate interest in rolling tankard. This coming together of great minds plus Ronit will take several minutes. You may wish to cancel any pending duty finder registrations. Are your nerves suitably steeled? Yes. Maybe we should have looked up the answers. I have to wing it. What a pleasure it is to make your acquaintance. Lorathia tells us you're in the transportation business, much like Kobleva and I. Yes, we were rather hoping you'd help us with the little problem we've been having of late. Hordes of ravenous sin-eaters, terribly irritating, as I'm sure you can imagine. Is it true that you and yours are presently engaged in the construction of some sort of vehicle capable of warding off such assailants? Ward off? Turn them into mincemeat, more like. It transports goods safely while repelling all manner of threats. Well, that does sound rather impressive. This could be precisely what we need. If any sin eaters dare show up, the rolling tankard can deal with them before they get anywhere near. Eh, seems like you've got a way with words. Keep this up and they'll be putty in our hands. It does occur to me, however, that this all seems awfully complicated. Those used to working with Amaro may struggle to operate these vehicles of yours. Controls are manned by purpose-built automaton. What could possibly go wrong? Just pull the levers and see what happens. Wonders of modern technology never cease to amaze me. Machines driving machines. Whatever next. That's a surprisingly good idea. All it takes is giving instructions to the automaton. Anyone could do it. Quite an elegant solution, I must say. Just made that up, didn't you? Oh, well, we can work all that out later. For now, carry on doing what you're doing. Well, this is all very intriguing, young Ronit. I would feel much more comfortable doing business with you if I could see your face, and I may better read your intentions. Though I do not doubt your sincerity, consider it a matter of courtesy. You want me to take off my helmet? But... Dwarven law prohibits it. And then what? You want him to dance on the table for you? Oh, I beg your pardon? That was incredibly rude of me. We are, much to our embarrassment, unfamiliar with Dwarven customs. You were very kind to intervene and prevent any further impertinence on our part. Thanks, Zilly. If you weren't here, I don't know what I would have done. Well, I think we've covered most of the pertinent points. There is, however, one last thing we would like to ask before we reach a decision. What do you think we sisters value most in all the world? Your answer, please. Honesty. Excitement. Honesty. He has to see his face. Oh dear, that's not quite the answer we were looking for. Oh, I got it wrong? We would like to think that honesty is the bare minimum we can expect from others, especially those with whom we would do business. Luckily, we have been able to ascertain through the course of this conversation that the two of you possess this in abundance. They want excitement? That was a bit of a struggle, but we got there in the end. Nicely done. Iriolva and Kobleva's warm response bodes well for Rana and his rolling tankards. It appears that you have secured buyers for his tanks, provided they reach completion. Of course, seeing is believing. Once the tanks are finished, you should put on a demonstration. We'd all be interested to see these ethereal cannons in action, but actually getting them up and running will be no easy task, I assure you. Lucky for you, I know just the man to point you in the right direction. I'll write you a letter of introduction requesting he help you in this little endeavor. Really thought they would. Didn't think the old ladies would be into excitement, but who knows? Give this letter to Rosard and Ballistics. He looks a bit imposing, but he's friendly enough. And again, if it's you doing the asking, I'm sure he'd be more than happy to help. One of these days, the people of Norvrant will be climbing over each other for the chance to do me a favor. Just you wait and see. Until then, I've got a lot of work ahead of me, so let's get going. Where is this guy? He's in the Crystarium. Thought he would be up here. Quite know my way around this. Greetings, what can I do for you this fine evening? Blow their bloody heads off. That's the plan, anyway. Ho ho, if it's either base firepower you're after, I have just the thing right behind me as it happens. This model was mass-produced and installed along the perimeter of the Crystarium, specifically to deal with Sin Eater assaults. Those bastards soon give up the ghost after a blast of concentrated ether to the face. Wahaha. I like the sound of that. I can't take the credit for these crystal cannons, though. Larathia is the one who originally designed them. I suppose you could call her my mentor. He says I'm to assist you. Who am I to refuse? Now let me see about getting you copies of our cannon blueprints. Pleasant surprise, I take it. That's the Larathia I know. Behind that sharp tongue and piercing gaze, she's one of the most caring people you'll ever meet. I expect she appreciates what you're doing, especially considering what happened at Homeminster. Not to mention that we in the Crystarium owe much and more to you for restoring the night sky. It's not every day we get a chance to aid the Warrior of Darkness herself. At any rate, every Sin Eater your tanks put down is one less for our soldiers to deal with, so sharing the plans for the crystal cannons is the least we can do. Meantime, I'll look forward to hearing of your success. Won't be long before tales of rolling tankards are the lips of everyone in Norvrant. Many thanks, Rosard. Come on, Zilly, we've got cannons to build. To the anvil. Gunville. What am I gonna have to make? Where everywhere we go, people treat you like you're some sort of hero. I suppose being a hero's most trusted friend and is the next best thing, so I'll settle for that. Having said that, when it comes to building these tanks, you're still my assistant. And it just so happens I've got some work for you. More to these cannons than just crystal, as you can probably guess. In fact, there are so many different parts it makes my head spin just thinking about it. Reckon there are a few things you can put together for me, though. Shouldn't be too hard for someone as skilled as you. As usual, you'll find everything you need in the Fetch-O-Matic Mechatoad, and if not, well, you're a clever lass, you'll come up with something. Request for materials acknowledged. Best cannon support. Doesn't say they have to be high quality. Just pop one out. Well, don't keep me in suspense. Looks like all that time I spent around Master Engineer like me is paying off. I've built and fine-tuned the cannon, the prototype tank will be ready. After that, it's just a matter of producing more of the same as quickly and cheaply as possible. Not that I'll be cutting any corners, mind. I heard you like tanks. Level 70 complete. Need any experience, it doesn't. Quality. If it gives you any more. Final piece of the puzzle, the crystal cannon in place. The rolling tankard prototype is all but complete. However, this marks only the beginning of Ronet's plans, as it will take more than a single tank to ensure the safe transportation of goods to and from various locations across Norvront. Travel quest complete. Watts Anvil, reputation up. Your reputation has increased to respected. You've achieved respected reputation with Watts Anvil. 2 Dwarf tribal daily quests are now available from Regid at Watts Anvil. Furthermore, you will be able to undertake 3 additional quests from Regid as a reputation bonus. This bonus is available until daily reset time for tribal quests. These additional quests will become available after accepting all current daily quests from Regid. Please be advised that you cannot undertake these quests if you have no remaining allowances. You now have access to a wider selection of wares from Mizit. Level 70, tanking is hard. Beneath Ronet's thick beard hides a self-satisfied grin. I've been putting the prototype through its paces, doing a bit of fine-tuning along the way. I'm happy to say it's now complete. I reckon I probably could have done it all by myself eventually, but having everyone else chip in with the work definitely helped. If we keep this up, Watts Anvil will be able to achieve world domination through technology. Might need to work on the slogan a bit. Alright, if we're going to produce more rolling tankards, we'll need to find a way to speed up the process. Time for a meeting. More booze. We're almost ready to take over. I mean, save the world with our tanks. I hope you haven't forgotten about what's in store for you once they're finished. Of course not, but in the meantime, I've got bigger fish to fry. You, boy, what the bloody hells do you think you're playing at? Consorting with gogs, bunch of stinking scruffy beards, a lot of them. Watch your tongue, Zamet, or I'll pull it out with my pliers. Hobbs balls, it's the chief. God, and my chief's here too. This is where you youngins have been all this time. Explain yourselves and spare me any limp-bearded excuses. Wait, what is that? Behold, the Roland Tankard, one of the lost designs of the great Watts in the flesh. Well, in the metal, I suppose, but the point still stands. Yes, but what bloody hells is it? Never mind that. What I want to know is how you got your grubby little mitts on Watts designs. They were locked in an unbreakable safe. Unbreakable? Don't think so, Chief. I opened that back when I was a nipper, and I thought, it's finder's keeper, so I helped myself to the plans inside. You did what? Taking such revered artifacts without permission is strictly forbidden. I should banish the bloody lot of you. We're already out of the village. What difference does it make? Steady on, Chief. I didn't even realize it was against the rules. As for you, young lady, you better have a damn good excuse for this behavior, and I noticed that ethanol mill over there is of GOG design. If I find you've been sharing our secrets with the Thal, your life won't be worth living. You can't go replicating Watt's ideas willy-nilly. For all we know, this could bring about the destruction of Tomral in any event. His great works are far beyond the capabilities of you whelps. And to make matters worse, the GOG know all about it now. What's to stop them from building their own tanks and waging war on us? I don't like the sound of that. Maybe this weren't such a good idea after all. Stop sniveling, you two. Why would Watts design something like this if he didn't want anyone to make it? We're carrying on his legacy. If taking the plans is against the rules, why did no one here know about it? Surely someone would have said something to Ronald if it's that severe a crime. Well, you'd think being in a locked safe would be enough of a deterrent, but obviously not. Bugger my beard. Do I have to spell everything out? Truth be told, I never thought anyone would break the sodden lock like that. I didn't mean no harm by it, honest. Maybe if I explain why I wanted to build Watt's tank, you'll understand. Killing sin eaters. You're cleverer than you look, Ronald. I suppose it's no good having all that technology if we're the only ones who benefit from it. Let's make one thing clear. If you go producing a load of shoddy work, the Thal will be the laughingstock of Norvrant. Do you swear on Watt's beard that you'll do a proper job of it? We will. To prove that you can produce quality and quantity, I want you to complete 5 tanks by the next Beard Tide Festival. Think you can manage that? Yes. Did you fail every Thal, here will be sent straight back to Tomra, and that's not all. Ronald must return Watt's hammer. Those are my conditions. Don't disappoint. We'll be holding a demonstration at the bottom of that hill over there on Beard Tide, just you see. Only 5 by Beard Tide. Why not make it 10? Challenge accepted. Run it. Got something to take care of, but I'll be back soon. Suit yourself. The more I think about it, the more it pisses me off. The only reason the chief's giving me such a hard time about this is because he reckons I'm not up to the task. I've also got a sneaking suspicion he made up that rule in Watt's plans just to make my life miserable. He can't bear the thought of me showing him up with my engineering. It looks like the only thing for it is to get those tanks built on the double. You see, Beard Tide takes place roughly once a year, and when it's time for the Chief of Tomer to have his beard washed. Once a year, I bet that gets disgusting. Judging by the state of it, I'd say we don't have long left, but we need to have as many people working on the tanks as possible, and that means making the workshop a lot bigger. Of course, I've already come up with a plan, but I need you to bring me some supplies, and this time only your very best work will do. Got that? You'll find everything you need in the Mecha Toad. Request for materials acknowledged. Creative workshop expansion supplies. Oh, so if these are in order, we should only have one more left after this. Assuming that it's some sort of order. Honestly, I don't know how half this stuff works. Pretty much anything after level 60, I don't have any experience with. We did everything the hard way up to 60 on the free trial, so... I assume you got there in the end. Burger, oh yes, very good, except for this slight impurity here. It should suffice, though. Just joking, it's damn near perfect. This will go a long way in making the workshop bigger and better than ever. Thing's bothering me, though. I haven't seen Ozog since she wandered off. I heard from one of the others she was loitering by something called Radiska's Round. Since Chief Zammot almost bloody well banished me for taking Watt's plans, I reckon an even harsher punishment's in store for Ozog. I mean, I bet their chief didn't take too kindly to her giving away their secrets and building us an ethanol mill. I know what you're thinking. Look at that daft sot Ronnet worrying about a Gog. Well, I ain't. I just want to know if there's something I should be worried about, which isn't the same thing at all. Yeah, I'm like fighting really hard not to give him like country accents. Like make him sound like a King of the Hill episode. Even if there was, I doubt she'd tell me. Or any of the other thralls, so maybe you could have a word with her? I'd tell you what. Thanks, appreciate it. If you can find out what her chief said, and if there's any cause for concern, I'd go a long way to put my mind at ease. Keep wanting to say, I reckon. Nice, clean, glorious propane. Oh, it's you. Is something the matter? Ronan sent you to check up on me. Maybe he doesn't despise me as much as he'd have everyone believe. Oh dear, I haven't laughed that hard in a long time. If you must know, I didn't come down here to sulk. I just wanted to have a look around where the demonstration is due to take place. Anything ruins Ronet's big day, I'll have to wait even longer to pit my skills against his. But if I'm being honest, there's a bit more to it than that. Will you promise not to tell the others? Little love connection. Truth is, I have no plans to return to Comer once this is all over. In fact, I'd already made that decision the day I left, so it makes no difference to whether I'm banished or not. Couldn't care less what the chief or anyone else thinks about me as long as I can carry on with my engineering. The feeling of having an idea and seeing it come to life right before your eyes, it's indescribable. Thing is, as one of Watt's descendants, everyone has had such high expectations of me even as a child. Build this, build that, craft me some copper rings. No, not those copper rings, the other sort. When the pressure got too much, I'd sneak away from my teachers to play with the junk I'd collected from around the village. Flashback. That's how I first met Ronnet. He was a few years younger than me. He still is, as far as I know, but just like me, he was picking up pieces of scrap metal and imagining all the things he could make from them. When I went over to speak to him, I found we were as alike as two peas in a pod. He loved to make things just as much as I did, and in that brief time we spent together, we talked all about the ideas we'd had and even made a sort of mechanical doll. She'd been smitten since an early age, huh? As a sign of our newfound friendship, I gave him a Gog coin and promised that we'd meet again, but someone must have seen us. When I got back home to the village, my parents forbade me from playing with that Thal boy. And well, that was the last I saw of him. He was so young, I doubt he remembers any of it, but I'll always cherish the memories of that day, that simple joy of making something for its own sake. Seeing Ron and his friends working together reminded me of how I felt on that day. I'd rather be here helping them build something that will make a difference to the whole of Norvrant than only doing what's best for the Gog. And once that's over and done with, I'll have the chance to prove that I'm a better engineer than Ronnet and claim Watts' hammer, for that is my true objective. Oh yes. It's true, well, I suppose I don't really need the hammer as such. I just thought a little competition would be healthy for the both of us. But I have a feeling that you're far too skilled to be taking orders from someone like Ronnet. Why are you helping him anyway? For the greater good. Wherever these talented hands are needed, I will be there, because there's money to be made, presumably. Oh, how very noble. I'm being sarcastic in case you hadn't noticed. We all have our own reasons for being here, I suppose, and it's not like anyone is forcing us to do this. I'm just glad you have someone other than those boorish thalls to speak to. I mean you, by the way. Honestly, I can't see how they get anything done over in Tomra. Did you see the way Ronnet let their chief talk to him in that ridiculous ultimatum? If they don't get those tanks finished in time, they'll be the ends of Watt's anvil, and everything I've worked for will go up in smoke. And worst of all, I'll never get the hammer if Ronnet loses it in that stupid wager. Luckily, I have a plan, but I'll need some time to mull over finer points. For now, let's get back to the workshop. Potatoes. So, what did she say? She just went to look over the demonstration site. Seems she wants to pass Chief Zamet's test, even if it's only for the chance to challenge me for Watt's hammer. Main thing is, she's sticking around long enough to help with the tanks. But enough talk, let's get to work, because if this doesn't go exactly according to plan, we're done for. Oh gods, I'm not used to this sort of pressure. Level 70, tanking is hard, complete. What do you think of the new improved workshop? There's no way we can fail now, right? Actually, don't answer that. It won't take us anywhere near as long to build the other 4 tanks as it did the first, but we still have our work cut out for us. Might have to tell the others no sleep till we're done. And don't go thinking that excludes you. I'm expecting great things from you in the days leading up to Beer Tide, so no slacking. Watt's Anvil is now equipped with everything needed to produce rolling tankards en masse. But with the day of reckoning fast approaching, will Ron and his comrades be able to complete a column of tanks that meets Chief Zamet's exacting standards? I guess we'll only have one more after this. They don't have an allied quest for Shadowbringers. So. Watt's Anvil, reputation up. Your reputation has increased to honored. You have achieved honored reputation with Watt's Anvil. New Dwarf tribal daily quests are now available from Regid at Watt's Anvil. Furthermore, you will be able to undertake 3 additional quests from Regid as a reputation bonus. This bonus is available until the daily reset time for tribal quests. These additional quests will become available after accepting all current tribal daily quests from Regid. Please be advised that you cannot undertake these quests if you have no remaining allowances. You now have access to a wider selection of wares from Mizid. Dwarven Crafts 3 unlocked. Level 70, Chief Concerns. There once was a dwarf named Ronnet, a boy with a bee in his bonnet. He had agreed to a bet he would come to regret unless, of course, he actually won it. I've got some bad news and some more bad news. Which do you want first? Alright, I'll pick. For starters, I hear the Chief's been spending more and more time checking his beard in the mirror. That can only mean one thing. It's almost Beard Tide. What are we going to do? At this rate, we'll never make it. As for the other bit of bad news, some of the workers have turned tail and ran back to the village before they get in any more trouble. Now there ain't enough people to handle production or bring in raw materials. Regid, Karut, and the others are already at their breaking point. I even thought about asking Ozog for help, but I can't bloody find her. I think Ronnet think there must be a way. Maybe a nice relaxing stroll will clear my head. Yeah, quick trip to scenic damp soul should sort me right out. And whatever you do, don't follow me. Even if you think I might get eaten by hungry beasties, don't follow me. Yes, definitely don't do that. Rhonda definitely does not want you to follow him to damp soul. Where's damp soul? Like way down here. Okay. Down by Bismarck. Sitting on the dock of the bay. Ah, I see you understood my subtle hints. You see, I wanted a word with you away from the others. It's a bit of a touchy subject, and I don't want them getting discouraged or nothing. You're good at keeping secrets, ain't you? You all right. Truth is, I'm finding it all a bit much. The pressure, the responsibility. I've always been a loner, and nothing I ever did made a lot of difference to anyone else. Whereas it seems to me, you're the opposite. By the sounds of it, people are always turning to you for help. Don't you ever worry you'll make some sort of horrible mistake and, I don't know, cause the end of the world or something? What's your secret? Just relax and let your talent do the work. I get by with a little help from my friends. Pressure's just another word for fear. Yeah, solving problems is what I do best. Thanks, I feel a lot better now. With the great Watt's blood flowing in my veins, there ain't nothing I can't overcome. Of course, I've got Watt's hammer as well, thanks to you finding it for me. Not that I ever use it, mind you. I'm keeping it safely hidden away until the day comes that I'm skilled enough to wield it myself. This thing, just a normal everyday hammer, made nothing special, but gets the job done. Point is, it gives me something to look forward to, a reason not to give up. Can't go disappointing my illustrious ancestor now, can I? Still, honing my own skill is all well and good, but if I really want to go down in the history books, I gotta think big, think beyond what I'm capable of doing on my own. With friends like you, how can I go wrong? Right, I better get back to the workshop before I run out of steam again. I've found my motivation. Now all I need is a plan. I wonder what Watts would do at a time like this. A shame his expertise was in automata and not tanks. Now all I need is a plan. Automata. Beep, beep. Megasonic Frog Boy and Regent Karut, I thought you two was working. We just fancied a spot of eavesdropping. Hope you don't mind. Yes, we heard everything, and I wish you'd said something sooner. You don't have to bear the burden on your own, you know. Let us share the load. Share the load. All right, but don't say I didn't warn you. Wait, what was it the frog boy said just now? I know it's only copying what we say, but I feel like it was hinting at something. Now all I need is a plan. Automata. That's it. Yeah, what is? Ah, I see. Can you get the automata to do the work? Actually, we thought Ozog might be here too, but she's nowhere to be seen. Gog or not, we'll need all the pairs of hands we can get. Perhaps she's made her way back to the workshop by now, and we should probably do likewise. Only slightly quicker to teleport. We'll just fly. It's fine, we'll just fly. Mortal Iron. Thanks to the frog boy, the way forward seems clear. Come on, I'll show you what I have in mind. I'm going to use this space to build something that'll speed up production, but I can't do it all on my own. That reminds me, I thought Ozog was supposed to be around here somewhere. Oh, did you miss me? Sorry to keep you waiting. I took the liberty of inviting a few friends of yours. I knew it was only a matter of time before you needed my help. My skills don't come cheap, you know. Luke and I may not be engineers, but we're also not averse to a bit of hard work. Yes, just point out what needs doing and leave the rest to us. Really, considering all you've done for us, Master Ronnet, it would be our pleasure to assist you. Traveled all this way just to help me. Well, not you, Larathia. You only live around the corner, but I'm grateful all the same. I'm so happy I... Alright, there's plenty of work to be done and not much time to do it. As for you, just because all these people have shown up doesn't mean you're off the hook. Still the assistant. Time to put my plan into action. By using a load of existing automaton parts, I'll be able to upgrade the workshop and build the rest of tanks, even with just a small number of us. Still, there are a few things that need to be made from scratch, and I've got a whole crate's worth of parts. I want you to make anything less than perfection, and it might blow up in our faces, so bring me your finest work, alright? Fetch-o-matic Mechatoad will dish out whatever materials you might need. I'm counting on you. What do we have to make this time? Request for materials acknowledged. Automaton worker supplies. Yeah, this looks like it's going to be the last one if each of these is a quest. Nice. Where is it? Let me see. Great work. As always, I'd better put this to use right away. There's not a moment to spare. We still have a lot of stuff to do in, like, the firmament. Haven't done much in the way of crafting. The day of reckoning looming ever closer, Ronnet has decided that it would be quicker to construct an entire factory, complete with automaton workers, than build 4 tanks identical to the one he has already completed. Ronnet's mind moves in mysterious ways. For what Ronnet lacks in effective time management, he more than makes up for with sheer stubbornness in the face of overwhelming odds. Perhaps this is what has earned him the respect and loyalty of his ragtag collection of friends. And yet, in spite of Ronnet's efforts, time refused to slow. Then the fateful day arrived. The chief will be here any moment. I still have one more tank to finish. Silly, I have an idea. Come with me. A I'll try to buy you some time. You get that last tank completed, no matter what it takes. Hmm. Mm-hmm. Need like lay traps as a distraction. Ooh, I'm not used to all this running about. Here, take this. It's Nitro Brew, an alcoholic beverage that doubles as paint stripper, and it's strong enough to knock out a bison. If we leave these kegs in the road, Zamet is bound to help himself to a few swigs. Don't give me that look. You clearly don't know how a dwarf's mind works. Like, there isn't much time, and this is the best I could come up with. Just put them over there and let dwarven nature take its course. Is it so far? Oh, I've been walked away, right? One of those days. That should do it. But now we wait. Oh, excuse me. What? He's already here, and why is Chief Glag with him? But more importantly, did the Nitro Brew do its job? It must be my lucky day, and besides, it'd be a shame to let all that grog go to waste. For once, I agree with you, you old swine. Shut up, Hobbs bollocks. What did you say? What a little bit of time. Come on, Ronnet, they won't stay like this forever. What happened? Was I asleep? Ooh. My head feels like it's been stepped on by a Talos. Booze must have been involved. Aren't there supposed to be tanks around here somewhere? God, too little, too late. Yes, I noticed a distinct lack of tanks. I declare this contest well and truly. Not so fast. Thanks. hills are alive with the sound of tanks. Run it! What? The bloody hells. The rolling tankards at your service. We did it. What's wrong with you two? Aren't you going to congratulate me on my hard-earned victory? No, we're bloody well not. Have you any idea what you've put us through? Did I say my hard-earned victory? Of course, what I meant to say was our hard-earned victory. Yes, yes, a slip of the tongue, that's all. Is that any better? Well, Ronnet, you did it, fair and square. No underhanded, dirty tricks, at least none that I'm aware of. Ozog, though I have yet to decide your punishment for consorting with Thalls, I will say this. You have demonstrated the superiority of GOG engineering without which those tanks would never have seen the light of day. Listen, Chief, I didn't do this because I'm a GOG. I did this because I'm a member of Watt's Anvil, so stick that in your pipe and smoke it. All this talk of Thal and GOG has reminded me of something important. We don't often talk about this, but when I were a lad, my chief once told me that Thal and GOG were once part of a single tribe. And into that one tribe was born a boy. His name was Watts. He was blessed with the curiosity and imagination in abundance and grew up to become the greatest inventor our kind has ever known. Sadly, the automata that he created caused a rift in our people. Some wanted to use them as workers, while others saw them as tools of war. And we all know how that ended. The limp-bearded Thals content to dig their holes and till their soil, and the mighty Gogs crushing their enemies and sowing the fields with their blood. Glory to Kamra. Pox on Kamra. Pox, is that the worst you Thals can muster? Stop squabbling, the pair of you. I want to hear the rest of the story. Ah, yes, as I was saying, Watts was beside himself to think that his beloved inventions could lead to so much strife. He locked away the rest of his designs so that they could never bring harm to his fellow dwarves. Those designs included the tank. It all makes sense now. No wonder he didn't want no one finding them. But if I hadn't opened that safe, somebody else would have eventually. How did you open it anyway? It was locked tight. Well, it was a long time ago, so I ain't quite sure, but I remember I used a coin, one given to me by a GOG, I think. Ah, that coin, it's the one I gave you. That, you mean you're the GOG girl from all those years ago? Maybe this is how Watts planned it all along, his descendants working side by side. It weren't the technology what were at fault, it was us dwarves and our bickering what caused us to live apart as Thal and GOG, but now one of Watt's ideas might build a bridge between us. Oh, shut up, you daft sod. Do you think this is all it takes to wash away generations of bad blood? Ha! But on the other hand, we GOGs admire Watts just as much as you Thals. If you're right, which would be a first, it's worth some thought. Trouble is, it all seems a little too convenient. The coin, the chance reunion, all the other coincidences, and there are probably a load more I don't even know about. Luck is what happens when preparation meets opportunity. You see, all the coincidences in the world won't do you no good if you ain't got the gumption to make the most of them. Something Ronnet and Ozog have in spades. Right, that's enough blathering out of me. I'm off to pint at the Crystarium on my way home. If you two think this is the end, think again. 5 tanks is just the start. It'll take more than that to solve the world's troubles. Alright, I hear you. Now bugger off and let us get on with it. That's funny, I thought those two were enemies. Probably got more in common than they realize. Anyway, it's time we got back to the anvil. To the anvil. So you and Ozog bought me some time, did you? Should have bought a bit more by the sounds of it. Just joking. If it weren't for you two, I'd never have made it. I suppose that's what Watts Anvil is all about. You lot working your arse off to make me look good. Something like that, anyway. But it's like the chief said, a measly 5 tanks ain't gonna right the world's wrong, so I reckon 500 ought to do it. You better get back to work, and no slacking. Level 70, Chief Concerns, complete. Watts Anvil, reputation up. Your reputation has increased to Sworn. You've achieved Sworn reputation with Watts Anvil. You'll receive an experience point bonus upon completion of the Dwarf Tribal Daily Quest. Furthermore, you now have access to a wider selection of wares from Mizit. Even unlocked Beard Science. Level 70, Tanks for the Memory. Ronit looks primed to fire a particularly cheery dwarven greeting in your general direction. Just who I was hoping to see. Tally ho to you. Tally ho. Aha, fine lolly ho if ever I heard one. Since the last time we spoke, we've been busier than ever. Our first paying customers, Ziriova and Kobleva, have already started using rolling tankards to ferry their goods about. So far, there have been no reports of any horrendous accidents or anything, which is a relief. We'll be aiming for the same high level of quality for the rest of the tanks, and thanks to our new friends, word's been getting around fast. Orders have been flying in thick and fast. This is going better than I dare dream. This calls for a celebration. Of course, it wouldn't be the same without all of the others, so I'll go and round them up. In the meantime, why don't you go over to Clearmelt and wait with Larathia? The Clearmelt. Oh, I see you're the opposite of what they call fashionably late. Since you're here, you can help me get everything ready. It's a feast. I'm surprised you resisted the temptation to start digging in before we got here. Bet you ain't never seen a feast like this. We got the best grub Norvrant has to offer. Euless and Siluk even brought a keg of their famous ale from Wright. But how did they carry something so heavy all this way, I hear you cry? Yeah, that's right. By tank, of course. Those things might be armed to the teeth with some of the world's most advanced weaponry, but it's what they carry that makes the real difference. People across the land can get what they need when they need it. To mention a few of life's luxuries, too. Seems all of our hard work has finally paid off. I think that Wright is at long last able to produce its own ale again. Thanks to you and Ronit, we've had the best barley crops in years. Even our very first batch has earned the approval of our village's most demanding beer aficionados, and due to the much improved quality of the soil, we have begun growing our own fruit, the juice of which we've brought for the younger ones and teetotalers to enjoy. All right, everyone, it's time for a toast, so raise a tankard of ale or a tankard of juice if you're muling whelp like Ronit. Watch it, Ozog, or you'll be wearing that drink of yours. To the continued success of Watts Anvil and all of our friends. Cheers! Kampai! The years of struggle and adversity seem a distant memory to the inhabitants of the First as they strive for a better tomorrow. In particular, the Dwarves of Kalusia will have a vital role to play in the days to come, with their ingenuity and diligence paving the way to unlimited possibilities. And even after the dishes were cleared away, the celebrations continued. Shay there, mish. You don't seem drunk in the slightest. I would just like to shay. Oh, Karut, at least finish your sentence before you fall asleep. I think what he means is we owe you our heartfelt thanks, especially Ronit. Yeah, taking too long to try and say it that way. Before you showed up, he wouldn't say boo to a goose, but now he's turned into a great leader. Must be from following your example. We know you've got other people out there who need you, so it would be selfish to expect you to stay, but we're grateful for the time you've spent with us. It means a lot, it really does. And if you're ever passing through, be sure to pay us a visit. Anyway, we'd best be heading back to the Anvil. Safe travels. Oh, and make sure you say goodbye to Euless and Shyluk before you leave. They've been meaning to speak with you. Oh, there you are. Euless and I were just talking about you. We were wondering if the ale was to your liking, and then it occurred to me that you may not even drink in the first place. Do you, partake in the old tipple? Odd tipple, I think he said. I never touched the stuff. I've been known to wet my whistle on occasion. You can't buy love, but you can buy alcohol, which is better. Words to live by. Perhaps we can use that as our slogan. Can I say, Siluk, how wonderful it is to see you in such high spirits. You're like a changed man. Change we have you to thank for. Considering all you've done for us in our village, I cannot imagine how we will ever repay you, so if there is aught you need, just say the word. My sentiments exactly. I dread to think what would have become of us without your intervention. Yes, and we owe a debt of gratitude to Master Ronit as well. Thanks to him and his automaton, my father's dream has at long last come true. We take a leaf out of Ronit's book by combining ingenuity with hard work. There is nothing we cannot achieve. Maybe the next time you come to write, we'll have something new to show you. Our doors are always open, so don't be a stranger. I almost forgot to ask, but have you spoken with Ozog? It seems there was something she would like to discuss with you. Have you eaten your fill? I'm sure she has room for some more. Have you tried these wrigglers from Amarong? If you can pluck up the courage, they're quite delicious. Yeah, I can't get enough of them. Just thinking about them is making me queasy. Come on, live a little. It's like I always say, youth is wasted on the young. Yes, and it'll be even more of a waste if a gifted engineer like me chokes to death on some godforsaken worm. I've got to look after myself if I wanted these plans of ours to come to fruition. Anyway, Larathia, I'll bet your best years are still ahead of you. In fact, why don't you come help out at Watts Anvil? It's got to be better than drinking tea and soaking in the hot springs all day. I don't know, drinking tea and soaking in hot springs sounds like a good deal. When you get to my age, you'll learn to appreciate things like that. You mark my words. Still, it wouldn't do to let my skills get rusty. I suppose I could pop over and do a spot of welding from time to time. Actually, there's something I wanted to say to you. For most of my life, I've been living according to others' expectations without thinking about what I want. But thanks to you, I've made up my mind. Like you, I'm going to pursue my own goals, my own dreams. That's why I've decided to carry on here where I can express myself and be who I want to be. Rather than wasting my life being bound by traditions and rules, I want to be free to go where I please and do as I please. Don't you want to go back to your village? All the thralls here have permission to travel between Tomra and the Anvil whenever they want. What about you? Well, it's not as though I've been banished. Not yet, anyway. You will if you take your hat off, right? I can hardly go back to Comra now, can I? From this day forth, I am no longer a Gog. I shall live only as Ozog, descendant of Watts himself. I answer to no one. But you can't just take off your helmet like that. It's indecent. I think he's just getting flustered by the sight of a pretty girl. How can he expect to beat me in a battle of wits if he turns into a babbling buffoon every time I take my helmet off? Watt's hammer is as good as mine. That reminds me, I should get started on my next creation and prove my superiority once and for all. Time to head back to the Anvil. It looks like I might be joining you sooner rather than later. You young'uns have brought me some much-needed excitement, and I can't wait to see what you'll come up with next. To the Anvil. That Ozog, ain't she got no shame just because she don't want to go back to Comer? There's no need to expose herself like that. I know you ain't a Thal or a Gog, so I don't expect you to understand, but you agree with me, don't you? This is the worst thing that's ever happened in Lakeland. The worst thing. You should take off your helmet too. You might find it liberating. What? No, absolutely not. Never. I'd rather lose my whole damn head than remove my helmet. Grr, this is all Ozog's fault. She needs a bloody good talking to. But that can wait. Bugger it, I can't remember what I was going to say now. Or something about thanking you or whatever it was. I suppose I should express my gratitude for sticking with me through thick and thin, even when it looked like this whole plan was going to blow up in my face. I know sometimes I can get a bit jealous of you having so many talents compared to me, being the savior of the bleeding world and all that. But I know you ain't doing it to steal my thunder. You're just trying to be a good friend, and you are the very best. Bloody hells, keep this up and I'll start bawling like a newborn. Anyway, the struggle to get those tanks might be over, but me, Ozog, and the others will carry on here. If you ever feel like showing off those skills of yours, you know where to come. In the meantime, best of luck with saving the world or whatever you'll be doing. Level 70. Thanks for the memory. Complete. Tribal quest complete. Watts Anvil. Reputation up. Your reputation has increased to Bloodsworn. You have achieved Bloodsworn reputation with Watts Anvil. You'll receive an experience point bonus upon completion of the Dwarf Tribal Daily Quest. And that's it.